Hey, this is John Johnson, and this is my monthly real estate update. Goal for my business is to find affordable ways for home ownership. The goal for this presentation is to give an accurate representation of current real estate data. I will leave links to where I pull the data in the description. So I'm going to go over the national market, the real estate market, the mortgage market, and a little bit of the builder market. So in the national market, the S&P 500. As you can see, we've been on a nice, steady upward climb for the last year or so. Actually, we're at an all-time high right now. We're at 5,100 plus on the S&P 500. So everything's looking up for people who have money in the stock market. Consumer Price Index. This is going to be the measure of inflation that your big people are going to be using. As you can see, over the last 5 years, we had a nice steady increase that happened. A big giant one over in 2021, 2022. And then now, as we've seen over the last couple of years, with the Federal Reserve not buying as much mortgage-backed securities, things of that nature, the S&P 500 has come down a decent amount to where inflation is getting close to where it'll be stable. Unemployment rate. We had a big giant spike when COVID happened. COVID is going to be the big gray bar around 2020. And as you can see, unemployment has come back down to stable levels. It has increased a tiny amount over the past month, but nothing that is considered significant. Rental data. This is going to show rental prices in the United States over the past 5 years. The first dotted line is going to be when COVID-19 begins, and the second dotted line is going to be when the Fed begins raising their interest rates. And as you can see, this is such a every market is going to be different from each other. So, I mean, you're going to have specific neighborhoods, specific states. Then you're going to have regions such as the Northeast, the Northwest, the West, and the South. And then you have the United States as a whole. Of course, the United States as a whole is going to be in the middle. So as of right now, it's trending around $2,000 per month for the national rent. But as you can see in the Northeast and the West, there's been a steady increase. And both of those places are going to be around $2,400 per month for rent. But if you're living in the South, it's going to be on average around $1,600 a month for rent. And if you're in the Midwest, around $1,400 a month for rent. But the most important thing to understand is that these numbers are not the same everywhere. It depends on where you live at, where these numbers are going to be at for you. The mortgage market. This is going to be historically. So this is going to be over the past 40, 50 years. The historical number is going to put you around 7 to 8% interest rate over the past 10, 20 years. A lot of people have been used to rates being a lot lower. And as of right now, we are back to historical numbers, which means we're back to being around that 7% mark. So there's going to be rates around the past year. And these are going to be for your prime borrowers, which means going to be your 20% down, over 700 plus credit score, things of that nature. Borrowers that are not as prime, ones that are putting down first time borrower numbers, maybe 3% down or 5% down, credit score around 680 is about the national average. Their rates are probably going to be about 0.5% higher than where these rates are on here. But overall, the trend line is going to be the same. And rates had a big giant spike at the end of last year, almost towards 8%. And many buyers did get 8% rates. And it came down. And we're kind of hovering around the high 6s, low 7s as of right now, depending on the borrower. Real estate market. We're going to go into a lot of slides on real estate market data, so bear with me. These are going to be the real estate data over the past, 7, 8 years. And there's kind of a trend to the data. There's data for before the pandemic happened, and there's data for after the pandemic happened. But overall, the lines look very similar just because real estate is seasonal. Things get very hot come the spring and the summertime, and things cool down come the wintertime. A lot of people aren't putting their houses on the market or aren't searching for houses during that time. A ton of homes are still sold during that time, just not as much as the spring/summertime. So the brown line, the one that's marked February 2024, that's going to be where we're at right now. It's tough to see the full trend. So if you want to see how we're fully trending, you can look at the year before, which is the pink line. If you want to see where it was at, October, November, December. and then it leads into this brown line, which is going to be February. So newly listed homes, we have more homes coming onto the market. But, that happens every single year where more homes come onto the market during this period of time. So nothing out of the ordinary, business as usual. Pending listing count. As you can see, once again, pending listings are going to be homes that are under contract right now. So you can still see them when you go on to Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin. You can still see that these homes are on the market, but they're going to show a status of pending, which means that you cannot put an offer in on those homes because somebody could be purchasing that property within the next couple of weeks. So as you can see, that number is going up, which is the same as the historical averages. Active listing count. This is going to be homes that are on the market that are not pending. So these are going to be the ones when you actually go on the websites, Zillow, Realtor.com, and Redfin, where you can actually see homes, or you can actually call the agents and maybe be able to get into the homes and check them out. And you can also put a contract in on those properties. As of right now, that number is kind of it stayed the same from the month before. We're going to hope to see this number go up a little bit. But as of right now, you're not seeing that number go up. And that's mainly because the days on the market has gone down. The days on market is how long a home is on the market until it is sold. And you'll see that in the next couple of slides that, when that number is down low, when homes are selling quick, it doesn't matter if you have new inventory. Those new homes are going to end up being marked into a pending status and sold quickly because there's still a decent amount of people that want to buy homes, especially in the first-time home buyer space. A lot of new families are being put together. A lot of people are getting married, having babies. A home may work for somebody with one baby and then they get a second baby and it's not going to work. So there's a lot more families being formed right now over the last couple of years, which means that there's going to be a steady demand for homes, especially in that first-time buyer space. Days on market, this is what I was just mentioning. The brown line is going to be showing you where it's at. The general rule of thumb is if you have 0 to 120 days, that's going to be considered a seller's market, which means sellers have a little more control. That means there's going to be probably more buyers in the market than there are actual really homes on the market. So anything less than 4 months is going to be considered a seller's market. So we are still in I would say, heavy seller's market right now. Not as heavy as it was a couple of years ago when the pandemic first started. That was a huge seller's market, one that people who have been in business over 30 years, they had never even seen before. But overall, though, it is a huge seller's market still right now. As you can see, that line's going down. It's trending the way it should be trending this time of the year. Median listing price. This is going to be the price that people put their homes on the market for. And we want to see this number go up. No expert has this number going, through the roof. All the experts this year are hoping for anywhere from 2 to 5% appreciation when it comes to homes going up in value. But as of right now, as you can see, last year's numbers may overcome it. That doesn't mean that we're going to have negative appreciation. That just means that we'll see how this thing trends over the next few months. Because last year had a nice steep up and then a decent steep down. We'll see if we just have a steady climb up this year. If it levels out during the holiday times, or I would say don't look at the news on something like this. You want to see a graph like this, because the news, as soon as that thing crosses over from probably in March or April, if it does cross over from last year, you're going to see news outlets that say, oh, real estate market's down, real estate market's going to crash, et cetera, et cetera. As long as that days on market number is low, the real estate market is not crashing. That means that we're in a healthy market right now. These are going to be regional statistics. So this is going to be looking at the Midwest, the Northeast, the South, and the West. And it's going to be looking at, the active listing count for each region. It's going to be looking at the median list price for each region. And this is just important to understand, once again, that this real estate is a regional game. It is a neighborhood game. You could have a neighborhood on one side of a street that things are priced a certain way and the market's going up for it, and you have a neighborhood on the opposite side of the street where the market is not going so well for that neighborhood. So it's best to speak with your local real estate agents to actually get the specific data on what's happening in your neighborhood. But overall, this is the way it's looking in the country, section off by region. So active listing count, as you saw, this number had actually went up in the previous slides. But that's because the South is pushing that number up so much. Just the South and the Midwest has a little bit of more homes in the market too. While the Northeast, that number is going down, and the West, that number is going down. So you also have on here median list price. That's gonna be a good one to look at, and that's showing homes are going up roughly 7.9% in the Northeast versus last year, and then about 1 to 3% in the rest of the country. So nothing astronomical, but that is pretty stellar to see that the Northeast is going up, just because, I don't know, maybe it was like last year or 2 years ago, that number was a negative for the Northeast. So this real estate stuff swings, and in different areas will be in, some areas will be in a seller's market while other areas are in buyer's market, and then they switch a couple years later. That's just how it goes. Median days on market is another one that's good to see, and everywhere across the country, they're pretty much seeing homes are getting sold quicker than they were the year before. This is going to be versus pre-pandemic years, just because if we're comparing the numbers that we just had to the year before, 2021, 2020, those are going to be tough years to compare, because that was a crazy real estate market that was happening. Right now, most experts consider this to be a normal real estate market. So when we compare numbers, we want to compare it to a more normal market, which would have been around 2017, 2018, 2019. And as you can see, the active listing count is well below those time periods, anywhere from 25% in the South to 50% in the Midwest and the Northeast. So, and even during that time, those numbers were still considered low, in my opinion, for what the market wants when it comes to buyers. So we have a lot to go when it comes to getting homes on the market for people to be able to buy for all these new families that we're having being formed. Another number, median list price, that number is way up, anywhere from 35 to 48% when it comes to places across the country. And median days on market, as you can see, is down everywhere besides the West when it comes to the data now versus the pre-pandemic. All right, I'm in the Florida area, so I found the data that was the same data we just saw in those last two slides, but just for the Florida area. In Atlanta, I kind of consider that North Florida. That's just how I feel. We have, and I'll go start off with the areas that have the cheapest prices, and I'll go towards areas that have the higher price. So Atlanta at the bottom has the cheapest prices at $409,000 LP with the Y over Y. That's gonna be your list price versus the last year. That's going up for Atlanta. Not a ton, just 2%, but it's still going up a little bit. Active is going to be new homes that are on the market. So as we saw from those previous slides, the South is leading when it comes to more homes being on the market, and they are leading astronomically when it comes to the rest of the United States. So Atlanta is not as crazy as Florida, but it still is up a ton. 10% new active, 15% that are new. Days on market is at 43, and the days on market versus last year is 8 days less than last year. So heavy sellers market in Atlanta. Then we go towards Jacksonville, which is only 1K more on average than Atlanta. The list price is up about 5%, but 22% more homes than last year, 21% more new homes versus last year, and the days on market is at 51, 13 days less than the year before. So very, very strong market right now in Jacksonville, even though there's a lot more homes that are on the market. Tampa and Orlando, they normally have similar markets. Tampa's at 416K, Orlando's at 435K. But Tampa, their list price is up 4%, and Orlando is up 0%. So it's changing a little bit, at least right now in this season, when it comes to the Tampa and Orlando prices. Tampa has 36% more active inventory, Orlando 38%, et cetera, et cetera. Miami is interesting to look at, though. They're always leading the state when it comes to list price. They're at 550K average, but they've been steadily going down in their list price. They're at negative 8% versus last year. And that was the same thing last month, too. It was maybe about negative 5%. Their active inventory is up just like everywhere else in the state, 37% active, 20% new. and their days on market is at 62. So their days on market is coming down too. So they're getting more into seller's market. It looks normal, but the only thing that's different though for them is that list price has gone down a little bit. This is interesting to see because no one would ever think about this. This is going to be appreciation. So home values going up versus the last year. This is a very interesting website. Once again, I'll leave all the links in the description for the websites. But Rhode Island over the last year is, and this is as of Q4 2023, was up 15% versus the year before. They've had the highest appreciation than any other state at 15%. Vermont, 13%. West Virginia, 12%. You're not going to hear about any of this in the actual news, but the Northeast is going up in value and is not in those big places where everybody wants to be at. Even New York is at 9%, but it's those smaller places in the Northeast, those smaller states that are getting a lot of appreciation, a lot of traction right now. And the places where it's going down the most over the past year is Hawaii at -3%, DC -1%. DC is astronomical when it comes to the actual home prices. Idaho, which is crazy because Idaho, they had probably the most 5-year appreciation. But once again, in the places that go up too fast when it comes to home values, they'll normally be the ones that come down a little bit quicker than everywhere else too. The West has seen this, the Northeast has seen this. While if you see places where it goes up, steadily in home values, normally you're not going to see some big correction. But yeah, DC, Idaho, Oregon, Utah, Louisiana, Texas, even these places have had close to 0% or even negative appreciation over the past year. And this is just this one hasn't really changed. But it's just good to be able to see where people are moving to. People are moving more towards the South and Arizona and New Mexico, and people are trying to get out of Mexico, Oregon, Minnesota, Illinois, and New York. Construction market. This is the way it was over the past 40, 50 years. As you can see, we used to build a lot more homes back in the day. We have gotten to the point now to where 2010 to 2020 with the situation happened in 2008 where builders stopped building because of the recession, the big recession then. They have sadly got to a point now to where they're building homes again, and they're pretty much, as you can see, this is over the past 5 years, they've hit their level, their peak. They're not trying to build hardly any more homes. They have their amount of homes they want to build every single year. They know what margins work for them. And unfortunately, when it comes to buyers, buyers need more homes. And new homes are normally where you're going to get it from. But there's not enough new homes coming on the market to be able to take care of those buyers that are coming onto the market. So there's creative ways you better make that happen. And if it's not going to come from the big time builders, you have your smaller builders that are doing it, but they may do 1, 2, 3 new homes a year. If you want to do garage conversions, those are great ways to be able to add some square footage. You can add a room to your home. If your family has a home, you can add a room there. You can add an accessory dwelling unit out back, anywhere from 500, 600, 700 square feet for you or you and a wife, or even maybe you and a wife and a kid. Those are meant to be starter situations, situations you can get into and be able to either pay your family for very cheap or potentially get it for free. But those are the ways you want to try and go, in my opinion, if you're not able to get an actual home right now because there's not enough homes on the market. Conclusion, real estate data, financial market at the highest levels of all time, S&P 500 at 5,100 plus. Mortgage market, it went up over the past month, but nothing significant. The average first-time buyer, probably around the mid-sevens. And if someone's giving a big down payment or a 15-year mortgage, they could probably be around the mid-sixes. In real estate, there's more inventory than the previous year, but still nowhere near the inventory needed to be able to have a balanced market. Advice for buyers, find the city or neighborhood that fits your price point. If you're looking to permanently settle down, then you have to be willing to move to locations to find the price point / home that you want. For example, in Florida, if somebody's trying to find, a good price point, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, some of your smaller counties, those are going to where you want to be at to be able to find more affordable price point. But also newer mobile homes, you can get those for much cheaper than you can existing homes, and definitely much cheaper than newer homes. You normally save yourself $150,000 to $200,000, and you're getting a brand new product where you're not thinking about a roof going bad. And these products look just like your site built homes nowadays, and they're either normally as secure or even more secure than your site built home. So look into new mobile homes. You need some land for that, either from your family or the land that you purchase. But they are a very good investment, in my opinion. And they get treated when it comes to appreciation and appraisals. A lot of times they get treated just like a stick built home, just like a site built home. So they'll go up if it's going up 5% for your normal homes. Newer mobile homes will go up 5% as well. Converting a family garage or adding a backyard home, those are options too. Those are great affordable options for home ownership. So check out those. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Have a great day.